A lot. They're gonna love you a lot.
Success! Pudding!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the man we've all been waiting for. And waiting for. That man is Marcus the Motivator.
G'day guys, Marcus the Motivator here. We are back with Ivan Beecroft again. How are you, mate?
Beecroft.
Beecroft, sorry. Beecroft, sorry. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good, yeah.
Now, it's been how long's it been since we first chatted to you?
Not quite a year, was it?
Yeah, it's just under a year. It was towards the end of last year, I think it was. I think it was towards the end of last year we first got to know you and first had a chat to you. So how have things been for you since then?
No, it's been flat out. Yeah, it's been busy. I've got to think now because there's been so much going on. It's like a year's a long time. You know?
Yeah,
but yeah, I got another album out. Put another album out in May. I wasn't sure what.
So we've got it. We've got. Let's grab it here. Got it here.
Yeah.
So, well, we're gonna plug it. So we got Liars, Freaks, Da Fools.
Liars, Freaks, and Fools.
And Fools
Yeah.
by Ivan Beecroft. That's the album. You released that in May.
May the 11th, yeah.
How was that doing that?
It's going, better than expected. Yeah, I got rid of quite a few of the first CDs.
Yeah. And how, you're a month in now. How
a month in?
Month in releasing it. What's the feedback been like for it?
It's been quite amazing, actually. Yeah, there's been quite a bit of feedback. I've picked up a few trials, which is always good. Yeah, there's a few people bagging it. That's great.
Well, yeah, it's always amazing. Like people, like when you do something, you put out your own work to the public and to get judged. I've recently had that because I just finished doing the comedy festival, and some of the people like to bag the shit out of what I was doing, which I had no problem with that. Wasn't for everyone's taste, so that's okay. So how are you coping with that? How are you coping with the?
It's kind of interesting, you know. Like it's either you get tour a new one every so often, you know. Like you get I'm just kind of waiting for the odd hit piece, you know, like someone writes really really rips it up in front of you and says, "Here, deal with that," you know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of good. Like my way of dealing with is make jokes about it. Yeah. You know, I'll get all the reviews. I'll put him in the lounge room floor, roll around in him like a dog rolls around in a dead jellyfish on the beach, and just I've annoyed somebody. Right? Somebody's really. What was it? There's just a million and one people out there waiting to be triggered. So I just got a few. I just sort of thinned out the herd a bit.
Yeah, you've thinned it out and you've annoyed a few people pretty much. I can never understand why people would write things that seem that just like bad reviews about something that could be at times seen as like disrespectful when it's probably something that just doesn't really interest them. Like why? Like in your experience from like all the comments and feedback you've got from people who've listened to your music and your performances, why do you think some people react that way when they hear your stuff?
Oh, I kind of get it because, they see you there, you kind of look a little bit different maybe, and you're up there playing in a band, you know. Years ago, it used to be like the girls wanted to, take you to the bedroom, and their boyfriends wanted to beat the crap out of you. And that's just how it seemed to be if you're in a band. You know what I mean? So the guys are giving you this kind of dagger look, like you're a threat, and then the women are like giving you the guy, Yeah. So it's kind of like that for me, So I've had that kind of antagonizing sort of scenario at times, when you're in a place. But yeah, I think you're a bit of a target. You sort of put yourself out there. You kind of walk around with a target on you anyway, so you expect someone to sort of pick you off here and there.
Yeah, I suppose that can be at times when if like
I get it. I do it too. Like we all kind of go, oh, who's that guy I think he is getting up there doing that? Like why didn't he ask my permission?
Yeah, that kind of culture does happen sometimes where
Yeah, it's like you expected to ask
chopping-
permission
chopping
to do it,
people
you know,
up, yeah.
and because you didn't, you just went, why do I need your permission for?
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's also a case of, do you reckon there's a bit of like, say, envy or jealousy sometimes from those people who are like making like, say, negative comments about
the ones
like
I get.
your performances?
It's interesting how people can sort of sum you up without even knowing you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a form of xenophobia, really, because you can sort of sum someone up, and I kind of get it because I've done it myself, you know, and when you're on the receiving end of it, that's when you start to kind of look within yourself and go, yeah, I get that. I've done stuff that's the same, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the album here we've got, is there anything you kind of learnt doing this album compared to other things? Is there anything you kind of did a little bit differently that?
I went back to what I was doing years ago.
Yep.
When I first started playing, because what I was interested in back then, I kind of got distracted with other things, you know, because people want you to play certain styles. You know, I was in one band, they wanted to be metal rock, and they're kind of like trying to shove this round peg through a square hole type of thing, you know, and I kind of went back because they're gone now, those guys, you know, and they were kind of dictating the terms. So everything you did, it had to be in that genre. Otherwise, they were like shoving it out the room and just kicking it out the door and saying, no, it's a pile of crap. Listen, we're not doing that. That sucks, you know. And so I just went back to doing whatever I felt like, you know, and bloody rock and blues music, because that's what I was doing anyway.
Yep.
I was in bands playing that up in the Dandenongs, and like years ago, we started playing the Sex Pistols and stuff like that, you know, in a little scout hall down there in Keysborough where I grew up. You know, and we were just through this little band together, you know, and we were dicking around doing that for a while. We didn't have a singer. And then one day I walked into this milk bar around the corner from my parents' place, and I saw this guy walk in. He was 6 foot tall and spiky hair, big leather jacket, and had a skull and Mohican on the back of this jacket. And he just kind of waltzed in the shop while I was sitting at the chip stand. And he's walked up to the owner of the shop and asked for a can of dog food. And I'm there watching this dude, man, and he's just walked up, got the dog food, whipped out a can open. I opened up the can in front of the guy, the owner, and then just dug his hand in and just grabbed the mouthful and leered at the dude and started walking out. And I just went, wow, I think I just found our singer.
Yeah.
So I chased this dude down the road and said, hey, man, I said, we've got this little band going. We need a singer. Can you sing? He's got, no. I'm like, good. He's like, come on, you're in, man.
Yeah.
So this dude used to rock up with a slab every Sunday. That was his mission every Sunday, man, to polish off this slab, you know, in this scout hole, you know, and we'd be playing all afternoon. So,
well, I mean, like, if that's kind of like almost the ultimate freedom, when you can kind of pretty much have your own attitude and own way of doing kind of what you're on. You set your own agenda to do the things, do really what you want, and
well, we're
and
kind
you're
of
able
doing
to
that.
do that.
We're kind of doing that in kind of response to some of the kind of 80s bands around at the time that we didn't particularly like.
Yeah.
And we couldn't play their music anyway because they had synthesizers. So we just got like these beat up old guitars, you know, and a pile of crap drum kit. And you could play Sex Pistols. It probably sounded fine.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
So is there any, so you've gone back to playing the music you want to play. How, like, you must be enjoying that quite a lot now that you're going back to playing the music and doing what you want to do.
Yeah, it is good. It's kind of, you know, I did it in between the other albums, so it's really funny how it came about. Because while I was doing it, I came up with the title and the artwork.
Yeah.
I had it sitting there, but I didn't have the songs, and I just was recording this other stuff. You know, it just kind of in between doing the other album, because that was a bit rushed because I didn't really. When the promotional company, one of the songs got somewhere, I thought, I better go and stick an album out. Whereas that one, I kind of could take a little bit more time.
Yep.
And it was just these other songs I couldn't put on it because it just didn't really suit it.
Yep.
Whereas that one it did. It's just this kind of raw, you know, raw up your ass type of music, you know, because that's what I was trying to do. It's kind of like I'm sick and tired of this. I'm sick of the status quo. I've had enough of people, this kind of elitism that's been going on that I see everywhere. You know, it's almost like you've got a tick box A, tick box B, tick box C, and you're there because you're a bit of a nonconformist anyway.
Yeah.
And then when you've got people ramming it down your throat that you've got to conform, well, that was how you react. You're like, well, stuff it, I can't tell you because you're not going to listen. I'll just write a song.
Yeah.
You know, so I was kind of thinking along those lines, like I've kind of had a gut full of what I was seeing. And like even in the band scene, it's very kind of claustrophobic. when you think about it. You know, people want you to be a certain way, and you just got sick of it. You know?
When, like, being like stereotyped and being pushed in, like pigeonholed, it gets, you get over it pretty quickly. I'd imagine you get over it kind of pretty quickly. Kind of doing.
No, you'd still get frustrated with it. I still get kind of frustrated. I always kind of feel like like I'm not that. In that kind of scenario, I feel like I'm the dog that you own who sort of turns up when all your best dinner guests are there that you want to impress, and I sort of walk in the room and go, oh, good, there's people there, and then start dragging my boat across the carpet in front of everyone. I go, look at this is cool in the event. And then all the people go, oh. So it's kind of like, that's how you kind of feel. That's the reaction you get sometimes from these other people in the music business, you know, because they're going in one direction, and then you show up doing this direction, and maybe it's kind of scary that, you know, like, who's this guy? You know, why isn't he like everybody else?
It's good fun though, like poking the giant, having a bit of fun, seeing like what reactions you get, and kind of doing it your own way and making a few noises here and there and whatnot. It's kind of good fun doing things your own way. And then like people learn pretty quickly kind of, oh, okay, we know who he's really like and what he is, and we know where he stands on things, and they know you're actually a character, and they know you're a character in someone, and you're not this kind of just, well, I'm just this and I do this and this. They know, well, okay, you have what you want, your direction, you have something you enjoy doing. How does it feel like knowing that you know who you are and you're comfortable with what you're doing? Is that something that you've always had?
Sometimes, kind of, you know, sometimes you feel a bit alone, but you know, like I've got like a good support network around me. You know, I've got a good family who understand me. You know, like they know that I'm just kind of compelled to annoy people. So they get it, you know. I mean, they know me, you know. Like they know that I'm kind of a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, everyone's a little bit crazy in their own way, one way or another, no matter what it is.
But yeah, I've had good support from friends, you know, and I've got like, you know, a few friends I've been seeing recently, like my drummer Mark the Animal Norton down there in Rosebud. Shout out to Mark, and Chrissy. He'll be watching this. So, you know, I thought I'd better give him a shout out, you know, otherwise I might be minus a drummer. No, he's all right. Great guy.
Yeah.
Top fella, yeah. But yeah, absolute animal on the drums.
Well, it's good that you got people like that supporting you and backing you up, and helping you.
Well, that helps when it gets a little bit, when it becomes a bit of a grind, you know, because you don't always get it your own way, you know.
That's true. Yeah. Not everything in life always goes your own way. Like, and I think at times, sometimes you've just got to take what you get and kind of move on with what you're left with, really, and just make the best with it sometimes. Yeah.
And with me, it's been like, you know, like a lot of things that have happened recently, you know, like in the last maybe year or so, you know, like you get in contact with people and you find out stuff that's happened. And, you know, I've kind of been inspired by just people that I used to know. Yeah. And then you'd bump into them and they'd say, hey, do you remember so-and-so? And you're like, yeah, well, he got murdered down there in Springvale. And you're like, really? Him? Yeah. You know, and just that kind of shocking, that kind of stuff that jolts you into action where you think, well, you know, life's pretty precious, you know, and you sort of start to kind of realise and internalise it, you know. Reality
kind of sets in pretty quickly when you hear stories of that, like of people who you used to know, and you kind of hear things, some massive life events happen, puts things back into perspective pretty quickly.
It does. It makes you sort of, you know, try and make use of your time, you know, a bit better because, you know, I think like one defining moment in my life was my next door neighbour, you know, he grew up with.
Yep.
And we were just, I hadn't seen him for a little while. I mean, I've known this guy for years, you know. We were always hanging out and that. And then I come down this road and I saw these sparks flying off the road there one night with a bunch of us coming home from somewhere in Dingley. And we're like, oh, what was that? It sounded like a bike, you know. And then we get there and my next door neighbour had just written himself off on a bike. He was dead. You know, and you're only like 15 years old, you know, and you don't expect that. You're like, oh, wow, what's going on here? And then you get there and it's like someone that you grew up with in front of you and you're like, well, it's sort of the sort of thing you never forget. And it's like every time I drive past there, I always look down that road. Yeah. Every time, years later, it's like, oh.
When you have like an event that's that's that major in your life. It's something you just kind of don't, or
Well, sort of people you
never
think
really
you're going to be
forget.
around, you're going to know forever,
yeah.
and you don't. So so it becomes pretty urgent.
Yeah, life does change, unfortunately, sometimes, and things do keep moving. That's just the
Yeah.
unfortunate reality of what happens.
Yeah, and not
how
that I've got
things
the
are.
monopoly on tragedy, but
No,
I think everybody
but
kind
it
of goes
can,
through something.
yeah, like it can happen to anyone, and
Yeah.
everyone's kind of got their own story and
Yeah.
own way of doing things. So you've done this album now. So you're gonna get it out there and try and play it as much as possible. Like what's the plan for you going forward for the rest of this year?
Well, the rest of this year, I've got some other projects going. I've got some other projects that are just sitting there waiting for me to get the time to do it. But we're looking at maybe later this year. We've been sort of hunting down a few different people and just trying to decide who we want or who's available is probably the best one.
Yep.
Like I've got a couple of people in mind, but who haven't really settled, and there's just been a few personal things go on that have kind of stopped it. So, but yeah, I'd be looking at playing it because I always did it with the intention that, we're going to throw something together and go and do it because, it's been a little while since I did it the last time, and we were playing like places in St Kilda, and when Joey's used to be there in St Kilda, in the middle of Fitzroy Street there, and we used to play in there on like a Friday night. And we had the spot where, no one would show up, you play to like 3 people.
Yeah.
And then the cover band later on, they would have the crowd walking in at about midnight,
Yeah.
So I had some good gigs doing there, playing that to about 3 people, and playing there one night. We were in this 3-piece and a couple of people in the crowd, for all 3 of them, started yelling out, play some Nirvana or something like that, and being a little bit cranky on a Friday night, working all week, I got on the mic and said, you go and dig him up, we'll go and jam with him, So they walked out, So we ended up playing to no one. And as they're walking out, I'm like, good riddance.
It's kind of good that you stick strong to who you are and what you do. So, and that.
I think it's that kind of tradie thing, like working in these dark, horrible steel factories, for quite a while there, where people just go to you, well, here's a hammer and a nail. We'll come back. I want to see this thing built. Yeah. And just sort of making you be resourceful. So you kind of use anything that you can to try and get yourself out there, But yeah, we've been promoting it. It's getting promotion at the moment, that album. It's only just starting to kick in now. And I'll just say big shout out to James Moore and the crew over there in the US, doing a fantastic job. They did a fantastic job of the last album. Excellent bunch of people to work with. Yeah.
So what was it like working with those guys?
Oh, great. They're just good thing about it is, there's a lot of people that you can't really trust, they just want to take your money. And these guys actually deliver. So I think that's the thing, it's a bit of a trusting, people, once people want you to do stuff for them, you kind of need a relationship. And once you get that and you realise that they're legit, well, then that's good. Then you can go, well, I can trust these guys. They do it. They say what they're going to do and they go and do it. So you kind of get this respect. If people do that when you're working with them, then you go, oh, good. Like I could trust you guys. You guys are great. You got stuff that you did stuff that I didn't expect you to do, and you did a fantastic job of it, and we're very professional and presented everything. Like they kind of got it. I think with these guys over in Canada, I think with me, what happened with me is that most times you walk into the room with somebody and they're like, they have no idea what you're about. And it was really strange with these guys. It's almost like we're on the same page. It's like they just got it. They just got what I was trying to do. And when I got feedback from them, I went, oh, great, these guys get it. This is awesome. So, yeah.
How important are those relationships to being able to help you to being able to help you achieve what you want to achieve and get where you want to get to?
Oh, well, it's pretty hard on your own. Like, you're still pretty much on your own. Like with me, because you're independent and you haven't got any real backing from a label, well then, yeah, it's very important, to have at least a few people in your camp. Yep. And plus to give you a bit of confidence to maybe, stretch your wings a little bit. Because normally what happens when I put an album out, I usually put a teaser out on my website with the next one coming up, with, coming soon, next year or whatever, and then I'll put like, if I've got a song or a video, I'll put that out early. I'll get that out pretty early because just to get people familiar with it before you even bother setting a release date for it. So yeah, I've got another rock album that I'm thinking of putting out that I haven't quite finished yet. I've got like probably 3 or 4 songs maybe that I've got there to record for it. And it's like a cynical kind of rock album. It's called the Cynical Express or something like that, you know?
Yep.
I think that's what the name of it was. I think that's probably what it's going to end up. But yeah.
So you're just enjoying kind of writing that music pretty much, and it's just a bit more work, and you're just.
Oh no, it just seems to be kind of, since all the distractions are gone, I seem to be able to focus a bit better, you know, and get things done because I haven't got someone to kind of stand in the way, and like I don't have to wait for anybody. I don't have to wait for a drummer to learn something. I don't have to wait for any of these people. I can just go and do it.
Yeah.
And because so many years, you know, you had that problem. You had people just getting in the way and just not being able to be productive. And actually, you know, you'd spend 3 years in a band, you wouldn't get anything at the end of it, you know. And I was in one band, and what ended up happening was I spent 3 years, and the guy that I was writing a lot of songs with for years, we've been writing songs. And what happened is that we worked in this one band, had second drummer we had, you know, went through like 2, 3 drummers, and then he came home one night, and these guys that were on ice smacked him with a fence paling after he was trying to stop his neighbour from getting his car stolen. They were carjacking his next door neighbour's car, and he just jumped in, and they smacked him with a fence paling and put him in a coma. And so I seen this guy in the Monash, you know, in the coma for maybe a good month or so, you know. Before and so then after that kind of finished that, you know, like. And then the drummer we had, he was on ice, and that kind of.
Just
it was like 3 years of my time and energy that just got tipped down the toilet as far as I was concerned. So when I got the opportunity to do something, I thought, well, because that happens to you previously, you sort of grab it with both hands. You're like, I'm there, you know.
Make the most of it pretty much while you can,
just
pretty
kind
much.
Of do the best you can to get a result and get something, even if it's something that maybe people won't like or you don't know. Do you know what I mean? You're
pretty much just doing what you can to try and get what you can
just
out there pretty much.
You don't worry about it so much. Yeah, see what happens, you know, and if it turns out, it turns out. If people like it, they like it. You don't worry about that so much as long as you like it. That's all it really matters, I guess, you know. If it's not successful, so what? You know, you just go and do it anyway, you know. It's like I've heard other people talk, like the guys at Aerosmith talk, like the bass player on that Making a Pump was excellent. You know, he'd just sit there and go, it's just like a long jam session. You just go and do it. You know, they were very casual kind of about what they were doing, but they'd done it for that long, so they could be. So
it's kind of, you just pretty much you go enjoy it and see what pretty much comes of it, basically.
Yeah, it was all pretty casual, you know. It's like, just go and do it. Just do it, you know. Don't think about it. Don't get too intimidated when people shove microphones in front of you. Just go and do it and enjoy yourself and have fun with it. Pretty much, that's it. So to kind of wind up today, what's going forward for the rest of the year? I know we touched on it before, but the rest of the year, I'm probably going to take a break.
Yep.
Normally when I put out a release and it gets promoted, I normally take a break after the release and just kind of unwind and kind of recharge, you know, like kind of get a bit of a reset happening, you know. So I'm going to and get out of Melbourne and actually get out of, you know, like Melbourne for a while, you know.
How much work goes into releasing an album? Like not just the musical stuff, but like the promotional stuff, like for you personally at least, because you're an independent artist.
Well, you know, look, leading up to the day, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like there's a lot of information, you know, that you need to give out, you know, just to information to go with the album. Normally what I do is we write our own blurb for it.
Yep.
And I get my own blurb out for it, just so that, you know, later on when people go, that when it gets misquoted, you can turn around and say, no, it's not about that. so you know, which is really interesting because it's been paraphrased quite often. So I'm thinking, I saw one the other day and I thought, obviously did do a good job of that blurb, you know, so because it's being paraphrased, so it's obviously they think it's okay, you know? Yeah. So it's just this sort of a bit of the confusion out the way of like what it's really about, because then they'll kind of maybe go off on a tangent and sort of say something about it, and you'll go, what are you talking about? You know, it doesn't sound right, you know. It doesn't sound right at all, you know. So you sort of don't have this kind of confusion going on about what it's really about, you know.
So you're going to take a bit of a break?
Yeah, I'm going to have probably a week off maybe and not do anything.
Enjoy your break because it's well deserved. So anything else, or just going to have a break and then kind of get back?
Yeah, I kind of come back and well, I'll be doing more work on this project I've got going at the moment, and then just kind of catching up with people I haven't seen for a while, you know, and speaking to them just to kind of see what they're into doing at the moment, you know.
Well, that's good to hear that you've managed to actually achieve and get something out there recently, and now you're going to actually enjoy, take a break and get back into it. So for everyone out there, the album is Liars, Freaks and Fools. Ivan, it was wonderful to catch up with you again, buddy.
Great to catch up with you again,
Thank
Marcus.
you very much, mate.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Ivan.